Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we're going to take a look at an extraordinary place called TechCity. Situated on the old IBM campus in the town of Ulster, TechCity is 28 buildings on 260 acres of commercial property just off Route 9W and Route 209. Here to tell us more about TechCity is Paul Rakov, their Director of Sales and Marketing. Paul, how did TechCity come to be?
Well, first, Jim, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. TechCity came about when IBM closed. They closed down the facility, and a gentleman, Allen Ginsberg, came in and purchased the property with a vision towards returning it to its illustrious past of being an economic hub for the area.
What was Allen's background at that point?
He's a real estate developer from downstate, and but just loved the area like all of us do, and found that this was at one time the center of all economic development and activity. IBM employed thousands of people, which meant influencing thousands more, and lots of families and things like that. And he wanted to bring that back.
In 1998, a New York Times story about TechCity began Silicon Valley in the Hudson Valley, and now 13 years later, the focus has sort of shifted a little bit, hasn't it? Tell me where you are right now with TechCity and what their focus is.
I don't think we're the Silicon Valley. I think some have called us the Sun Valley or some other types of valleys. I've heard Brooklyn on the Hudson, all sorts of great analogies to what we are. But I think we're actually unique. I think what we create here in the Hudson Valley and at TechCity is a hub for what we're focusing on is clean energy technology companies that are at the next generation of what's going to propel our economy for this country, which from the president on down says it's going to be renewable energy, clean technology, green jobs, things like that. And we've been working on that for a vision of our master plan for over 5 years to develop that and attract those kinds of businesses, and it's been taking hold.
So in '98, though, it was the height of the internet and information and stuff, and now, these years later, it's more green technology, and you're attracting businesses along those lines, aren't you?
We are indeed, yes. I think the promise of another Silicon Valley for this area never really took off, which is understandable. I mean, that kind of expertise is still focused mainly on the West Coast, but for us, this is a great opportunity right now because clean technology, green jobs and things like that can be created right here in the Hudson Valley. There's been a lot going on up in Albany. There's some going down in downstate, but right here we're in the center of what can be a great hub for these kinds of jobs, these kinds of manufacturing companies, research and development companies, things like that are going to really bring it to the forefront. And like we said, we're already attracting those types of companies.
Can you tell us about some of those exciting companies that are calling TechCity and Kingston home?
Sure. What's great about TechCity is we have a huge variety of tenants. We have over 30 tenants right now. Where when Allen started, there was only a handful that were still left over from the interim period between when IBM left and he took over. They range from small tenants to large. Some of our smaller tenants are 1 or 2 people, 5 or 10 people that exist. And then slightly larger than that, we get into companies like Earthkind Solar that does whole sorts of solar projects all over the Hudson Valley. We've grown the number of tenants dramatically over the last few years in the clean technology area. Hunter Panel is with us. They're a company that has grown into this green technology and green product area where they make panels specifically designed for solar panels to go on the roof. You put a solar panel on the roof, you're putting it actually on the roof. You have to drill into the roof, which negates a lot of your insulation and things like that. So Hunter Panel has come up with a way to be able to support that weight, but still have solid insulation made out of green materials and things like that. So that's a good company out there at TechCity. They have 160,000 square feet and doing great things out there. We've got Solar Tech Renewables, which is a new company. They moved up here about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and they're producing solar panels. They're making the panels right here. Everything that they use, every part that they use is made in the USA, which is great and really impressive. So we like working with them. We've even, and we'll probably talk about this in a little bit, but we've taken some of their panels and bought some of their panels and put them up on the roof of one of our buildings. And then we've got Precision Flow Technologies, which is a great local company that started in a garage with a gentleman named Kevin Brady a few years ago, and it's just grown by leaps and bounds. They have 140,000 square feet up at our place, 300 employees, and they're doing great things in supporting the renewable energy business by creating the machines that make solar panels, that make LCD panels and things like that. So really exciting.
You're watching Kingston Now. More about Tech City with Paul Rakov when we return. Welcome back to Kingston Now. When IBM left Kingston in the early 90s, nearly 7,000 jobs went with them. Hoping to change this is Tech City. Paul, how does Tech City attract businesses to your location here in Kingston?
Well, the great thing about Tech City Now today is that it's actually creating quite a buzz. We're getting a lot of attention from all over the country, all over the world, because of the companies we've been able to attract. And we've been able to attract them with a variety of different things. First of all, we've got a campus that lends itself to a variety of different businesses. You could be a small business, medium-sized, or large manufacturing business, and we can fit you in there. You could be a data center, where you're just, you've got server farms and you're just processing lots of information. We can accommodate that. You can be a call center, really a variety of different types. And we've got the infrastructure to support all of that. You got to remember that IBM built this facility to test mainframes, which back in the day were huge pieces of machinery that took a tremendous amount of power and created a lot of heat, so it needed to be cooled all the time.
Of course, now all that energy is in the
palm of your hand. Right. Well, but even when you're doing your iPhone, that's going to a server somewhere, and it's actually doing the exact same thing. It's generating a lot of heat, and it needs to be cooled a lot. So it's kind of, we've come full circle, and now we're back to that. So data centers are kind of representative of that. But there's really just a good synergy for a bunch of different companies to come here, and they're starting to see that if they're here, they're not just an island where they're just operating on their own. They can reach out and connect with other companies that are here that are in have a like-minded philosophy, for one thing, about green, being green and promoting green technology. But they also have a similar skill set, so they can be learning from each other and things like that. So, you see Precision Flow and Solar Tech interacting, and Solar Tech interacting with Hunter Panel, because they're putting solar panels on roofs that Hunter Panel might have panels on. So it's a great synergy there, and that's what's really creating a big buzz about this. And then we're just getting the word out there every way we can to let people know that Tech City is here. It's less than 2 hours from New York City, and you can be here and enjoy a lot of the things that we enjoy in terms of quality of life, which is huge. Yeah,
I noticed on the website you have a tab that sort of promotes the recreational aspects and the beauty and the history of the Kingston-Ulster County area.
Absolutely. We do that because when a CEO decides that they're going to open up a new facility or relocate a facility, they want to know that their employees are going to enjoy it. They're going to want to stay there. They're going to be able to raise their families there and feel good about where they're living, especially if they've had to uproot them from somewhere else. And I mean, who can beat the Hudson Valley for that? I mean, it's got a little bit of everything and not too much of anything. And so it's a great place to live, and it's a great place to run a business. The costs are a lot less than you're going to find downstate, but yet you still find the labor pool and skills that can match your business.
Is New York State or Ulster County providing any incentive for businesses that do come here?
New York State does. Ulster County helps in that effort as well, so I think they work together real well to bring businesses here. Listen, it's a tough economic picture everywhere in the country right now, so economic incentives are paramount to try to get businesses to move here, especially foreign companies that are going to come here with a new infusion of money into the country. So New York's trying to do as best as it can to, given its budget struggles, do the best job it can to attract companies. Quite honestly, one of the biggest attractions for New York State is that it's New York. And we hear that all the time, that companies just want to be in New York because it's New York and because it's near New York City. And somewhere like Nebraska or New Mexico can't compete with that. But they, so it's a strange but sometimes level playing field. Some states do a better job of incentivizing them, but because they have to, because of their location. So.
Let me shift gears for a minute. I want you to talk about one of the businesses that I find really interesting at TechCity. It's the Farm to Table Co-Packers Company. Tell me about them.
Well, they're a great company. Jim and Luke. Jim started a company called Winter Sun Farm, and what they did was they processed fresh vegetables and freeze packed them so you could have fresh broccoli, fresh local broccoli in the middle of February, which was great. So he started that, and then they got together and they decided that they wanted to expand that business and really work with local farms, regional farms all up and down the Hudson Valley to take their produce, and if you have your mom's great spaghetti sauce recipe and you're a farmer who grows tomatoes, you kind of come together at Farm to Table at TechCity and they put it all together for you. So they take your recipe, and then they take the raw ingredients from all these farms and process it and then put it into jars and label it and ship it out to the different stores all over the region, all over the country. So it's a great success. They've got 25,000 square feet at our space. They're bursting at the seams. They're doing a great job of promoting local farming and the whole region, and it's been a great thing.
And an extraordinary thing too is that they took the old IBM cafeteria, which served those employees, and converted it to this process.
That's something that we worked with them on. Our president, Dan Wieneke, came in, and he's been in the manufacturing business for a long time. So he saw how their line could be set up. It's kind of the first time that these guys had ever done something like that. So it was good to have Dan in there, and he just got in there and worked with them to figure out how it was going to work. And one of the innovations was to take the old dishwasher that was in there, that processed, they did thousands of meals a day when IBM was there. So they took the old dishwasher and turned it into a vegetable washer instead of ripping the whole thing out and putting it, So now, you're seeing, and it actually saved on manpower too, because now you can just take, huge amounts of fruit and vegetables and send it through there.
There's a very cool press conference when they opened, and Congressman Maurice Hinchey was there. Let's take a look at that.
I want to congratulate all of you for everything you've done and all how wonderful this is, and now it's complete.
These gentlemen had the vision to take old, dilapidated, rundown equipment, peel the 316 and 304 stainless off of it, and create new equipment.
We're open. We're open for business. What you're walking around in is the infrastructure that has been lacking for years.
These farmers are looking for help in marketing their agricultural products, and Farm to Table has the ability to help them.
This is Kingston Now. We will continue exploring TechCity when we return with Tate Lacy of Earthkind Energy, one of the businesses that call TechCity and Kingston home. Welcome back to Kingston Now. Joining us is Tate Lacy, Executive Sales Director of Earthkind Energy. Welcome to Kingston Now, Tate.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me about Earthkind Energy? What kind of company you are, what you do?
Yes, our Earthkind Energy has been around in various forms for many years. They started in wind energy. Then their next focus on renewables was with renewable energy credits. And now finally, over the last 4 years, a focus exclusively on solar.
How did Earthkind end up at TechCity?
Great question. If you go to TechCity, you will see that they are really doing a wonderful job of converting a very large property into a very innovative and upscale high-tech center. And that's why we picked it. There's one other reason, though, why we picked it as well, is the Hudson Valley for many years has had a very strong focus on renewables, on sustainability. And so we're closer to our customers by being here in TechCity.
Can you tell me about the advances in solar energy over the years? I mean, you mentioned that the company started in wind and has focused exclusively on solar in the past few years. You think about solar energy 30 years ago and these big clunky panels. Where are we now?
The technology is much better. The essence of that is that the panels are smaller, they're thinner, they're more lightweight, they produce more energy, and their application is more broad. So we currently sell two types of solar panels, both for solar PV electric, which can be used broadly for either commercial or residential for homeowners, or solar thermal hot water, both for hot water heating or for heat driven by hot water. And that can be, again, both installed commercially or for residential homes.
How realistic is solar energy for a residence or a business even in the Hudson Valley? For someone who is on the grid right now and wants to make this shift, is it a painful financial shift in the beginning? I mean, tell me how that is for the person just saying, okay, I'm interested, what do I do?
Yep, it's very doable. First of all, there is significant incentives that help the financial picture. In addition to that,
we're talking like tax incentives?
Tax incentives. This year in particular, the tax incentive from the federal government can actually be taken as a cash tax grant, which is quite unusual, and consumers, residential homeowners, love that option. Commercial businesses like the tax credit, as you might expect, because they're businesses with profit and in need to offset taxes. In addition to that, energy prices in the past year, though we've seen some moderation with the economy, have tended to be higher. We've seen our gas prices in natural gas come down slightly, but oil prices, particularly for many, both commercial as well as homeowners who use heating oil, have been going up fairly substantially. And that makes solar very, very doable.
If someone was going to say, all right, I'm going to do this, what is the effect on their home? Like, what happens? Do you come and you put panels on the roof, and is there piping that happens? Tell me about that process.
The first thing that we do is we do an evaluation of the situation, and that's the evaluation of the home's roof space and also its orientation toward the sun. Southern facing and unobstructed is what we're looking for. And then we look at the usage pattern of energy within the home. This is whether we're talking about hot water or whether we're talking about electricity. After we've done that review, then we will actually do a proposal where we will map out the actual solar panels on the roof and compare the delivery to the usage. And again, our overall goal is to save the amount of energy usage so that the system will pay back for the customer, whether it be commercial or residential, in as quick a time as possible.
And the process is the same for businesses as well?
It is.
What are Earthkind's near-term goals here at TechCity?
Overall, we want to continue to grow. We have made a major move into commercial this year. We're just completing our first public school system installation.
Oh, where's that?
That's in Ellenville schools. And we're now doing our second proposal to the Ravenna school system. We're looking to continue that growth. We've already been highly developed with municipal housing authorities for apartment buildings, and we intend to continue that growth. Long term at TechCity, we hope to someday be large enough as a developer to actually have enough need to manufacture panels here.
And where are the panels manufactured currently?
Currently, we utilize panels that are manufactured both in Germany and in the United States.
Now, you're not the only solar company at TechCity.
We are not.
Is there any kind of cross-pollination that happens between you guys?
Absolutely. One of the main things that we value is that we can compare notes with other people that face the same marketplace. Both in terms of how we price our product, how we reach out to customers, and how we work with government entities relative to the grant writing or working with incentives. It makes it very helpful to be able to talk over a cup of coffee with other people that see the same challenges.
And you have a terrific company name, Earthkind Energy.
And every time I speak to a customer, I always describe it as being kind to the earth.
Terrific. Thanks, Tate.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
This is Kingston Now. When we return, a final word with Paul Rakov of TechCity. Welcome back to Kingston Now. And joining us again is Paul Rakov of TechCity. Paul, not only is TechCity making homes for businesses, but you're taking advantage of some of the technology that's coming in. You guys recently installed solar panels on the roof of some of the buildings there to generate your own electricity. Tell me about that.
We did indeed. We bought the solar panels from our tenant. That's what we try to do to help our tenants grow, because their success is our success. So we worked with Solar Tech Renewables and put a solar array up on the roof of one of our buildings, generating 50 kilowatt hours of power, which for layman's that's about 15 households worth of power for the year. That's a small system because we have plans for another 4 to 6 megs of power up there. So that'd be a lot bigger and a lot more power that we could generate into the grid. And interesting enough, that power is going into farm to table. So now farm to table has product that's grown by the sun, and they're producing it by the sun, and it's all at TechCity.
That's outstanding. Now, is there still room for people to come to TechCity?
We do have room available. We have about 900,000 square feet of the original 2.8 million square feet available in a variety of different sizes, and we work with people to get them in there, get the size that they need, and then they can grow. So we don't tell them they have to take a certain amount. We get them in there, let them grow with us over the course of time, and expand their lease as need be. And we've got low lease rates, low energy costs, low utility costs, no MTA tax. So there's a lot of reasons to come to TechCity.
Paul, can you tell people the website if they want to find out more about TechCity?
Sure, they can go to techcityny.com.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Kingston Now. Thanks to Paul Rakov of TechCity and Tate Lacy of Earthkind Energy. I'm Jimmy Buff. See you next time.